Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bridging the Gap. I am glad to be here with you all. It would have been nice if I took my mute mic off. I am Bishop Vanessa Brown. I'm glad to be here with you and glad to be here with my very special guest, Reverend Bernie Lopez. Reverend Bernie, do me a favor. Greet our audience that's in YouTube and StreamYard. I'm sorry, YouTube and Facebook, and let them know a little bit about yourself.
Greetings, everyone. I am Reverend Bernie. So I'm just giving you a shout out. YouTube, let us know you're there. Facebook, welcome in, welcome in. Please share this, by the way. Please share this. As you know, I was ordained by Bishop Vanessa M. Brown as a reverend. In spite of all the things that I have gone through, especially in March, as of March 2020. March 2020, I was a respiratory therapist working in the hospital, and we were told that there was a disease called coronavirus.
Yes.
We did not know what it was,
Yep.
but what we did know is that all of a sudden people were dying rapidly.
Yes.
Nothing that we usually do was working.
Wow.
And so when I got sick on March 26th, the morgues were already full, but no, they weren't telling people that.
That's right.
The morgues were already full. And I woke up with a temperature, and I tried to tell myself it wasn't true, but the
Yeah.
thermometer doesn't lie.
Yeah.
I was fatigued immediately, and no one would test me, Bishop. I couldn't find anywhere to go.
Yeah.
I'm a healthcare professional that can't find a place to go to get tested.
And let me pause you really quickly because that's true. That's real. So much so till, and I'm just gonna share this so that you can it'll, kind of collide and align with what you're saying.
Yes.
I was sick the couple of days before. They announced on a Monday, I believe it was, that everything was going to be shut down. And I remember very distinctly me being so very, very sick.
Yes.
And uh, Bishop Linda called me and said, I'm thinking about you, baby. Are you okay? And I said, Mama, I'm so sick. I am so sick. I can't even get out the bed to go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
I'm so weak. And I don't know what this is. And I couldn't move. My body was aching everywhere
Yes.
from my head to my feet. I was so sick. She said, well, we have to find somebody to go and get you some medicine, go do something. And so she was like, who's there, whatever. Anyway, we identified someone. They were able to go get me medicine. They were able to bring me over the counter medicine,
Right.
but it wasn't working. It wasn't working. And this was around the same time that Lee Truesdale had died, one of the members of the church, right?
Right.
And so I want to be better because whatever's going on, we don't know it yet. And I want to be able to do his funeral. He's been a part of our church for over 20 years. I've known him for so long. Like, how could I be so sick that I can't go and do this funeral? I was just beside myself. Anyway, I told the person, I said, this medicine is not working. I am not well enough to um, do anything. And I said, call this number. I had him call a friend that worked in the emergency room uh, at a hospital. I'm not going to name the hospital.
Right. Right.
And he basically told me there is something going on. I do not know what it is, and they do not know what it is. So whatever is happening, this is what he said over the phone. Don't come to the emergency room. I'm going to take care of you. He came by the house, but he wouldn't come inside. He only stood at the door. So he knew something, he knew it. He stood at the door, he gave medicine, and he said, this is it. He didn't even pass it to me in my hand. He passed it along. I had to go walk and get it. And he talked to me through the door all the way. as I stood in my kitchen, he said, "Stay all the way back." And I let him. I had the doors open so that I could talk to him while he stood on my stoop, on my stairs, and said, "Whatever is happening, Pastor Brown, because I was a pastor then, do not come to the emergency room for any reason. You have everything you need here in this house to get better." I'll never forget that. He said, because we don't know what's going on. And within a matter of days, I got better and I was well enough to do a funeral that I think was on like Friday night. And yeah, not knowing what was going on because still they had not told us that COVID was going on. All we know is that if we knew people in the medical field, that they would say, and don't bring anybody to the hospital, and that the hospitals were
That's
being
right.
overrun. So I
That's
just wanted to testify that I know you know what you're saying.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Bishop. You know, what people didn't know was going on inside is that all of a sudden the mask disappeared, the gowns disappeared, all of the protective gear disappeared. So now we were having, the shield, you had to go to the unit secretary to get these things. People were fighting over, oh, this is for our unit. This is,
Wow.
and it was like, we work in the whole hospital. What do you
Right.
mean, your unit? So
Right.
people who had been friends and, we got equipment, now everybody was like, no.
Yeah.
And it was so bad, Bishop. We were being exposed to people. I remember distinctly this woman was on isolation
Uh-huh.
and then she was gone when I went to give her a nebulizer treatment. And then I saw her coming back down the hall. And so the isolation post had been taken off her door. So
Right.
there was nothing on her door. They put her back in the room, and I go in, and she's crying.
Mm,
And she said they won't let her go home.
mm-hmm.
And I asked her if she wanted her nebulizer treatment, and she said no. When I left to go chart on my computer, I heard the nurses say they're ruling out coronavirus. So, how many people had I been exposed to? All of us. We don't know.
All along. All
All
along, people were sick, probably. I mean, I don't even know. All along, people were sick, Reverend
yes,
Berkeley. Even
yes,
before they even said that it was the coronavirus, people were sick before
yes,
he announced it.
yes,
Hospitals were running over. You think that these hospitals are running over, Reverend Bernie, because people didn't have anything else to do? They had the coronavirus. And
yes.
for whatever reason, it was being kept a secret.
It was so bad, Bishop, that my managers were upset that I was sick. They were like, "What do you mean you can't find a way to get tested? Put your
Yeah.
uniform on and come back into the hospital."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "I don't have the strength to."
Right.
So I stayed home. I had a respiratory table, I called it.
Yeah.
My family knew not to come near me. I hadn't been near them in weeks anyway because I didn't know what I could be carrying. But
Correct.
they were leaving things at my door.
Yeah.
I Bishop, when I tell you, I ended up in the hospital within a few days. I had gotten tested. You remember we had to wait, what was it, 5 days or whatever,
Yeah. You'd
before we
be
got the result.
half dead by the time you got to be tested.
Bishop, I had to call the ambulance. They came here. They had the defibrillator. And I looked at them. I was like, you don't have to come in. I already understand. They took me out. I walked out. They made me sit in the back. They never touched me. This is the emergency medical service.
Yep.
And I went to the hospital, and my oxygen was so low that
Yep.
they put me on 100% oxygen.
People were afraid. People didn't know what this was. If a medical doctor could tell you, I don't know what this is, and the same way they got mad at you, they got mad at this doctor because
Absolutely.
he got sick and had ended up getting the virus, and they said, "Well, we need you to come. You need me to come. Like I'm not going to be able to come. I
Right.
can't serve any patients, right?" Well, first couple of days, I think maybe he was home for like 3 or 4 days, and he was able to go back, and they wanted him back quickly, right? But they really didn't care that people were sick, and you had even doctors and nurses and everybody walking around sick and
Right.
still treating people.
Right. Right. Bishop, when I tell you, my managers weren't mad at me, they were mad at COVID. They were
Sure.
mad because they had told us we couldn't wear protective gear in the hallway. We couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. So we were being exposed. And
Yes.
so they were angry that now I couldn't find any place to be tested. And I just they were like, just stay home, you're okay. I ended up in the hospital. I didn't know until I got out of hospital because I was in a different hospital than where I worked. And a friend of mine told me, I said, I was on this floor. She said, you were in ICU.
Wow.
I had no idea. I had lost so much weight. I was as pale as the sheets. I could barely make it to the commode at the side of the bed.
Yeah.
It was a horrible feeling when they moved me to the floor. They would keep putting people next to me. They would leave, and I was still there. The nurse had to carry me to the bathroom because I didn't have a commode yet.
My Lord.
And she said the only thing she heard was that I was praying,
Yeah.
and that I was praying for her and her family and
Yeah.
her loved ones.
Yeah.
My family didn't know if I was going to live. I didn't know if I was going to live.
It was just such a tough time,
Really.
right? To be and not only just and to be in isolation your own self, away from your family. People couldn't visit. People
Couldn't
was
visit.
down inside parking lots. You know what I'm saying? Of hospitals. You know, you know, hoping if they had a front glass, maybe that patient was in that front glass window and they could see them upstairs from their window. Some
Right.
people was talking on FaceTime and all the other things. To be in communication. People were actually dying that way. There
Yes.
was no way that a family member could, we usually could stand by the bedside, whatever, pray you through, pray you over to the other side. None of that was happening. It was just like, it was sad. I mean, it was sad. We lost a lot of people personally, our church, just very
Yes.
painful to
Yes.
have gone through. Very
Yes.
painful.
Yes. Bishop, when God spared me from going on a ventilator, because they told me I was up for a ventilator, but it ran out.
Wow.
So God blocked it because later we found out that
Ventilators.
95% of the people, that's all we knew how to treat was breathing problems. The BiPAPs, the high flow oxygen, the ventilators, they all added,
All added.
just
Isn't
pushing
that something? All added.
all
Everything that was supposed to
pushing the
save you.
disease deeper down into the lungs. The
Yes.
opposite to what we had been taught as
Yes.
medical professional.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to get out when they brought me home. Just as you said, my granddaughter sat in the truck across the street and watched them bring me in. And I still cry.
Yeah. It's okay.
Bishop, as you know, I was in seminary.
Yep.
I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
I couldn't concentrate.
Yep.
I couldn't retain anything.
And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the effects of COVID,
Yeah,
long haulers. But
yeah,
before you get there, I want to talk about what you felt the universal church could have done in these instances. I mean, obviously, we were one of the first churches to go online, like right away, boom, no church, no church, no church. We were
boom.
on it. But a lot of people didn't do that. A lot of people kept having services and kept gathering people, and people kept gathering and gathering and gathering until people really was like, it took a minute for it to hit people like we can't keep gathering because people are dying in droves. The Kojic Church, over 100 people, 100 like bishops or whatever that number was
Right.
of people that just died.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Because people kept gathering, and they're not the only denomination where people kept gathering.
Right. Bishop, even till today, there are a lot of people with the thought that COVID doesn't exist,
Mhm. Or that is over.
that it's over. But even that thought, when it was happening,
Yeah.
they didn't believe that it was true. So, like you said, they kept gathering. They had the evidence in front of them.
Yes.
People dying. I would sit here and I would yell at the TV. They're lying. They're
Right.
lying. I'm not telling you the truth.
Right.
And so it just was so. I was so angry, Bishop,
Yeah.
because people tend to believe the propaganda of the news media.
Absolutely.
They rely on that.
You
Oh, this
rely on it.
happened. That
Don't
happened.
wear a mask. You don't need a mask. No
Right.
mask. That was a whole big thing about masks. I mean, something so simple. Like if I want to wear it, so I want to wear it, and like you
Right.
all should be enforcing that people wear it because obviously this is airborne.
Airborne. Bishop. Then we had someone telling us to drink bleach and
Yeah,
and all kinds of craziness.
all kind of craziness.
All kinds of craziness. I came home on oxygen. I had to have a rollator. That's the thing with the chair where you can sit down.
Yeah,
That was the only way I could get around my house.
right.
That was the only way I could get around my house. And this is what they weren't telling people. This is what the churches weren't seeing. This is what the churches weren't asking of those people that were getting sick in their congregation.
Yeah,
What is happening with you? They didn't have a conversation.
yeah,
Bishop, you went into action right away,
yeah.
instantly. Stopped services. We were online, and the schools, everything shut down. But
Yes.
there were some people that just wouldn't believe.
Yep.
They just wouldn't believe. So I think that conversations, you have these conversations all the time, just like right now.
Yes.
You have conversations with us all the time. You always have since I've joined this church. You've had conversations with us about what's going on in the world, about how we can do better as a congregation to help outside of the church. And I was listening to you on the Bridging the Gap, and you said, the bad theology that's taught,
Yeah.
and that is many people sit in the pulpit and they talk at the people, not to the people,
That's
not
good.
with the people. I
Yes.
remember when I joined the church, I was like, why isn't she talking to me? Why is it she's talking to everybody? And then finally we talked and you said, because I already know all about you. I know where you come from and what you've endured. And that's why I didn't need to speak to you. So that is, you have an open door policy.
Yes.
Whether we use it or whether we don't is our choice. But you always have an open door policy where I don't think that many other churches have. The education, you, TFAM, UCC are all about educating us
Yeah.
and about our ministry outside of the walls. When I tell people that I belong to radically inclusive church, they really don't understand. I said, we have people in Africa, we have people all over the world.
Yes, we do.
Bishop, before that happened, you, Bishop Flunder, everybody was all over the place teaching, educating.
Yeah.
You lead by example. You didn't tell me to go to seminary. You showed me that you were being educated. And I didn't know how I got there.
Yeah.
I was like, how
Well,
did I?
you
And
did the work. That's how you got there. So we want to thank God for that. And I want to bring us back to you being a
yes,
long hauler.
yes. Bishop,
And I know that's been difficult. Tell us a little bit about that and how COVID has really impacted your life.
Bishop, my life doesn't look anything like it did before.
Yeah.
I am in therapy. I have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, PTSD,
Wow.
my breathing. Like right now, I'm struggling breathing. These past few days, the air quality has been horrible,
Sure.
and I feel it. I still can't retain information. I forgot everything I learned in 2 years in seminary.
Yeah.
Um,
It's okay.
my home doesn't look the way it used to.
Yeah.
The therapists are trying to get me and the psychiatrist, because I am on mental meds now.
Yeah.
They're trying to get me to realize that I can't do what I used to do the way I used to do it,
Sure.
to live in now. And so I'm trying to get it together.
Yeah.
You know, I was so depressed in the beginning that God told me to go play music.
Yes.
I had stopped DJing many years ago, but I had bought this little controller just to play around with.
Right.
Music definitely saved my life. I didn't have to think. All I had to do was feel and watch as I brought joy to people.
Yes.
You know, people don't understand me today, and I don't care.
Right.
I need peace
Yes.
because I'm already on a precipice. If you push me, I'm over.
Yeah.
So I work hard to have peace.
And tell me this. Um, did you, when you first knew that you had long COVID, because I know that that's the thing, and it's a thing that people don't talk about, right? People that have long COVID, people that
Mm,
have been severely impacted emotionally, mentally, physically, financially,
Come,
right? Spiritually,
come on,
all the things, in ways people can be impacted. Did they give you resources around long COVID
Bishop.
outside, outside of going to therapy?
I am still fighting workman's compensation 4 years later.
Wow.
Um, they they took me from half of my salary to a quarter of my salary to nothing.
Wow.
And that's what we're fighting now. 4 years later, all
Four
the
years later.
documentation, nothing, nothing, nothing. Bishop, it's just such a long haul, and everything is affected for me except my spirit. My
Mhm.
spirit wasn't affected even in the hospital. I say, God, if it's my time, I just say thank you for the life that you have given to me.
Yeah.
And I was praying for the rest of the world. But when it comes to these legal matters, the insurance company doesn't want to pay you. And Bishop, I lost 2 careers.
Yeah.
Until today, I'm really afraid to go into a hospital.
Wow.
I didn't finish my chaplaincy, and I'm afraid to go into any facility to try to do that.
Yeah.
So I lost being a respiratory therapist, and I lost being a chaplain.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I could possibly do is remote work.
Yeah.
And then what am I looking for, Bishop? I
Yeah.
have an associate's in respiratory care and a master's in pastoral care and counseling, and I can't do anything with either one of them.
Yeah.
I was forced into retirement, early retirement,
Sure.
right? And so I have a very small pension and Social Security.
Yeah.
And so when you said finances, you hit me in the belly.
Yeah.
I look like I'm in a whole different place because of God,
Yeah.
but I don't let everybody in close to know.
Yeah.
And I just pray, and God is truly a way maker because I have not starved. My bills are paid.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens, Bishop.
Yeah.
And but I do know.
Yeah.
I do know.
God makes a way.
But this is truly smiling faces. Sometimes they don't tell the truth.
It's true.
So I'm always smiling and happy. I don't take a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
Um, all I need is peace. All I want is peace, Bishop.
Yeah.
I miss us. I miss singing. I miss us
Yes.
so much. And it's like the world has gone back to normal.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers respiratory therapists anymore.
Yeah. But is it really normal? Is the world really normal?
That's why I
Right,
went like that,
right,
Bishop.
right. Because it's so funny you just said that. They're talking about, well, the good news is that in early spring of 2024, the COVID-19 cases was down. Few fewer infections, few fewer hospitalizations, all of these things that we're here, and of course that was juxtaposed against the previous winter. Now we are here and
Yes,
dead summer, and they just telling us straight up that the numbers are rising,
that's right.
and there's a new variant now, because there's always a new variant. This is a sub of from the Omicron that was there, so now we in flirt. That's what this next one is called, flirt. And they are some variant strains, the Omicron. But the fact of the matter is that we have to be vigilant. We have seen clearly that the government is not going to protect us.
Hmm. Whew.
So,
Yeah,
these corporations, these businesses, hospitals, whatever we want to call everybody, they're not going to protect us. We must protect ourselves. They're going to keep as much information away because they don't want to cause pandemonium, pandemic. The bottom line is that we always know something is going on, but we are always the last people to know. And
yes,
so I think I just want to say to people, protect yourselves. Bring your own mask. You going into environments, yes, it's summertime, but that's when the virus can become alive. It starts to bake. So many people I know are COVID positive, even right now, trying to move past. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it feels like a cold, but who wants to be feeling sick? Nobody wants to feel this.
right.
Nobody wants to experience it. And you don't know what each variant is really going to do to you,
Have
right?
no clue.
Huh?
Like they didn't have a clue.
They don't have a clue. You know, people are getting vaccinated still. We highly recommend vaccinations. But you know what? Some of these things, if you correlate it, I mean, and I know that you are old enough like I am to remember the HIV virus.
Absolutely.
And remember when it was out. And remember the pandemonium and that it
Absolutely.
caused.
That's right.
It was only causing that within a certain community, right? So within the LGBT community, we had this pandemonium, we had this all of this stuff, hysteria, but the truth wasn't being told that it wasn't just gay men that could get this,
That's right.
but also women could get it, heterosexual women, anybody that was having any kind of intercourse, period,
That's right.
could get this virus. And so there are things that they left not telling us even
That's
about the
right.
coronavirus.
That's
So
right.
although it was not sexual, it was airborne
That's right.
still,
That's right.
right? And so what do we do? Once again suppressed information,
That's right.
right? So that people are not getting propaganda is coming out across the news because everybody's trying to still keep their business intact. Everybody, capitalism still reigns. And
That's right.
so we got to still be a capitalist society,
That's
no
right.
matter how many thousands of people have to die.
Yeah, they don't care about that, Bishop.
No.
Even like with my case,
Yeah.
it's about the finances. It's not about me at all.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not about me. It's about the insurance not wanting to pay me
Right.
for what happened to me. So we have to go through it a different way.
Yes.
And you talked about who's protecting us. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, Bishop. I know for myself, it's hard to put a mask back on. It was horrible. Um, but I do know it's necessary.
Yeah.
And it's just, I felt and I feel like this was caused by the government, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So, it at first it was people over 60. Then
Yeah.
it was in the communities where there are more marginalized and oppressed people,
Yeah.
right? So I was so afraid. I didn't trust
Yeah.
the, and I still don't trust these vaccinations.
Right.
When I got it, Bishop, my doctors are all upstate,
Yeah.
where there's a mixture of people, because I feel like I have a better chance.
And isn't that sad?
It
That
is
has got to be the report, right? If you
absolutely
feel like you have a better chance, in another community than you do in your own
in
community.
our own
That
community.
shouldn't be. That shouldn't be,
Should not
right?
be.
I want to leave the people with hope. And so I want to let them know, first of all, you are a wonderful DJ.
Thank you,
DJ,
Bishop. Thank you.
go ahead.
Thank you. No, I want you to go ahead. I was
Yeah,
just saying thank you.
a wonderful DJ who has been doing it for a long time. But you know what? Since the pandemic has come out, you can catch Reverend Bernie mostly at everything, all these parks, all these outside for the summertime, all these parties. But give them your handles, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or however social media handles, so they can know how to contact you.
Okay, I am DJ Sister Love. That is my handle. Of Love is the message.
Yep.
That is my brand.
Yeah.
And you can find me on Facebook as Bertie Grateful. You can find me on Mixcloud with Team Chosen.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitch with Team Chosen Ones. And as Bishop said, wherever people ask me to play, I'm waiting for the money, Bishop. You
Yeah.
know, um, but it just brings me joy.
Yeah.
It always has,
Yeah.
but please remember that you can live.
Yeah.
Keep
And
your
you are
faith.
doing it. I'm going to be praying that this whole workman's comp, after 4 years, that'll be worked out. There's no reason why this should be. You should be compensated. You worked all your life. You've done what you needed to do, uh, and so all that should be done. And then I pray for your DJ work that it increases. That
Thank
it
you.
increases.
I tell everybody that you're one of my greatest supporters, and
Amen.
I appreciate you and I love you so much. I'm grateful to be a part of Rivers
Yes.
of Living Water UCC.
Yes, I'm grateful for your presence and grateful for our audience tonight. Thank you so much for listening to us, for hearing this conversation about COVID-19, how people are passing through long haul COVID, the effects it had on them and what they're doing now. And we want you to continue to be encouraged. Know that we are still bridging the gap, right, between religion and community, and also what's at the center, what's going on in the world. And so we are standing at the intersections of all those things. We appreciate your presence tonight. We say God bless you and have a wonderful evening.